What's up, guys? I have a new deck to show you today. So this is a Gaara deck, and the reason that I had the idea for making this deck is because this card's Sand Tomb, so it requires Sand Combat Attribute plus entrance cost of 4 or more, and it targets a ninja and moves it to the bottom. So it's a snipe, which is pretty powerful, and this Gaara Tamari squad has Mastery. It's actually the only Gaara card in the game that has Mastery, I think. So naturally I wanted to put that in because if you build up a lot of chakra and you get to the late game and you mastery this, it's pretty powerful. So I wanted to build a deck around that idea, and I was going to add in the 4th Kazekage, but his combat attribute isn't sand for some reason, even though he uses like the gold sand in the show. But the 3rd Kazekage does have sand attribute, so he can use Sand Tomb, and also he has Mastery as well. So this deck is kind of just built to get to the late game and get out either Tamari and Gaara or 3rd Kazekage and start Sand Tombing things. So I'll get into it right now. Start off with the 0 drops. 3 Hotaru, standard win. 2 Shino Bug to kind of help stall, and also comes into play with a card that I have, Impassioned Speech. I'll talk more about it later, but basically it just gives you guys Flashpoint, and then this Shino, whenever he comes into play, he makes a bug. So you can Flashpoint him to like gum up the battlefield with bugs, which is cool. And also Hotaru works well with Flashpoint. So just keep that card in mind as I'm going through the deck. 2 Hanare, standard wind, also works well with Flashpoint. 2 Gaara Childhood, also standard wind, or 3 of them actually. But yeah, standard wind card, he draws you, he works well with Flashpoint. And then also I play 3 of him because I want to see him and Tamari as much as possible. And then 1 drops, we have a Crow and a Black Ant, because I play Conqueror in here. So it's cool to be able to go into Conqueror and Black Ant, because I do play a few puppets and it can be kind of useful. And then Crow just as another target, because the Conqueror I play searches out a puppet and then puts one in to your team in the EOJ. So I didn't want to have like a dead drop on Conqueror. So 2 of those. And then 1 Yakumo just to mess with your opponent's low drop ninjas combat, kind of help you get to the late game so you can play your Gaara. And then 1 Ino. I could play Karine over her, but Karine can't pay for any of my mission hand costs, and the only jutsu that she can pay for is like Hydro Pump and like one of my negates. Also with Ino's tiers, you have to discard a win card. So Karine is just a real non-bow with this deck. She would be really good if I could play her, and I probably could get away with it because most of the deck is wind. But I like the uniformity for the most part. So the 1 Ino, and then 2 Tamari Wind Scythe. 2 because I want to see her. And then on to 2 drops, we have 2 Sakura. I play this one. It's the one where you can Flashpoint her, and then you put in play this Sakura, which works really well as like a chump blocker. Because this Sakura comes back and this one gets removed at the end of the turn anyway. So really good chump blocker to help you get to the late game. Also fixes your hands. I was going to play the 3 drop Sakura, the puppet one, because I play Conqueror in this deck, and I play 1 Abizo, because Abizo is limited to 1 on the list I play. But if I did that, there are really no good wind 2 drops that I could have played. I mean, I could have played the 2 drop Shino that looks at target player's hand and picks a card out of it, but I already have the 0 drop Shino, and if I don't play the 0 drop Shino, then I'm lacking on 0 drops because I play pretty much all of the good wind 0s. So yeah, 2 of her, that's why. And then 3 drops, 1 Conqueror, limited to 1. He can get you your Crow or your Black Ant, and then you can squad into Conqueror Black Ant. And there's like a few puppets in this deck, so you might be able to get Conqueror Black Ant's effect off, which is pretty cool. And then 1 Abizo, limited to 1. He's the guy that brings out your 3rd Kazekage. So if you do that on turn 3, you can start mastering your Sand Tombs, which is pretty good. Next, 2 Utakata. When he comes into play, pay 2 win, draw 2 cards. Just a really good draw card, and then with Flashpoint, he's pretty good too. 4 drops, 1 Kurenai. She helps you get to the late game. And then 1 Knockout Punch Asuma, because he comes into play, kills a non-leaf ninja with entrance 2 or less, and then you can like Flashpoint him, and then he can come back into play and do it again. And then also the Kurenai Asuma squad is pretty good, and I think he's the only non-wind card I play in this deck. And it's just for that squad basically, because the squad is really good. And then 5 drops, Sasori. He can go into your puppet mode reinforcements, and he has ambush, so you can charge him early, play him late, pretty good. And then 2 3rd Kazekage, just because you do want to see this guy. If he gets battle rewarded just the 1, then your only game plan for the deck is Gaara Tamari, and that kind of sucks to have to rely on just that. He's a really good card. And then on to missions. We have 3 Enos tiers to search for your wind ninjas when you need them. 3 loss, just filter cards, draw. 2 entrustment. It can draw you more than loss, but it can be a little less consistent, especially if you Flashpoint a bunch of your guys, and then like you try to play entrustment, you don't get the extra draw. So just 2 of them. 2 impassioned speech. A lot of your guys have ETB effects that can go off with it, and then when a ninja is put in play except by deployment, you can draw a card. So with that, you can draw off Abizo putting in the Kazekage, you can draw off all your flashpoints, and then you can draw off when you squad up or reinforce. And then 2 disarmament. Basically, you can flashpoint a bunch of your guys to make sure that you have less ninjas than your opponent, and then play it on your opponent's turn, and they have to bounce 2 of their ninjas to their hand, and you only have to return 1. And also, really cool combo. When an opponent's ninja would be moved to their hand by an effect, you can move it to your battle reward area face down instead. So if you have Kazekage out and you disarmament, and you bounce 2 of their ninjas, you get 1 of them to their battle reward area, and then 1 of them goes to your hand. So, really cool combo there. And then 1 Conqueror's Tenacity, just in case you need to get cards back. And then also, when it's in your chakra area, your Conqueror gets +2 entrance cost. So that means that this Conqueror with 3 entrance costs becomes a turn 5, and he can use Hydro Pump if you want him to. Usually, or reverse tetragram also, so that's really cool. You can turn 3 play Conqueror, and then if this is in your chakra area, you have the option to use reverse tetragram, which is pretty insane. And then Jutsu, 1 Big Bang, standard wind, 2 Ferocious Punch. It's a really good negate, and I play enough females to play it. 1 Wind Style Pressure Damage. I needed another Jutsu for the deck, and I had pretty much all the late game Jutsus I wanted, so I was looking for something that just can disrupt your opponent, and I figured this one was fine. I usually don't play it because it bounces the user and the target to hand, but if you have Kazekage out, then it makes it a battle reward, so that's cool. And you can use it just like if you're panicking. I don't know, it can be alright sometimes. And then the main jutsu of the deck, 3 Sand Tomb. Kazekage plays it, Gaara plays it, they mastery it. It can, if you mastery it, you can use it twice and bounce 2 ninjas with it, and it's a snipe, so it's any ninjas. And then if you mastery it just one time, then you just have it for next turn, and you can keep playing it over and over. Next, we have one card that I really like is a Windstyle Infinite Sandstorm Devastation. Just one, because it's sand plus entrance 5 or more, and targets every ninja battling against the user, returns it to its hand. So it's kind of like a snake sword, but for Gaara and Kazekage. I thought it would be really cool to like just have it as a one of, to have a little surprise factor. And then last 2 jutsu, both limited to 1, Hydro Pump and Reverse Tetragram. Both really good with Kazekage because you can get him out on turn 3 with Abizo, and this one combos with Kazekage. I don't know why I can't say that word today, because he turns one of them into a battle reward, and then this one just is probably going to wipe your opponent's entire field. And then also, if you have Conqueror's Tenacity in the chakra area, like I said before, he has access to both of these jutsu, which is pretty sick. Reinforcement deck. Oh man, I gotta find some stuff real quick. Thought I had everything set out. Try not to take too long doing this. Okay, whatever. I'll just use what I have out right now and then let you guys know what the other ones are. But we have this guy, and then this guy, because if you're going to go into puppet mode with Sasori, you might as well go into him so you get the extra draw too when you go into puppet mode. And then Kankuro Tamari Gaara, it's just an option, you don't usually go into it. And then 2 Tamari Gaara, I don't know where my third one is right now. And then 3 Inner Sakura. And then a couple other things are the Asuma Kurenai squad, which I have no idea where I put mine, and then the Sorcery Puppet Mode reinforcement, which I have one in my binder right here that I forgot to take out, so that one. And that's pretty much it. The rest of the extra deck would just be filler cards. So that's it for the deck. Let me know what you guys think.